I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 2022. Welcome to the first episode of the new year of Post to Post. I am the Weatherman. Alongside me, good old brother discussion Will. Grayson
Yes.
MIA somewhere.
Well, I mean, Grayson and his wife, they had their first child. So Grayson is on hiatus for an indeterminate period of time. As soon as he gets
he's doing the Adam Page.
Yes, he's doing an Adam Page. He'll be back, but not until he's got plenty of hands-on baby time and the child and himself have found a nice circadian rhythm that balances one another. Until then, it'll be just me calling in as many pretty please favors as I can from all the people on the Legends contracts and whoever else might want to chime in.
Who's halfway watching this crap?
Even halfway is better than no way. And when I say crap, I only mean WWE, but other people.
West made it 28 minutes last night before he turned Raw off.
Glutton for punishment.
Well, I think it was a Heyman. I thought it was the Heyman and Brock promo, which is probably the only good thing on the show. So I can't blame him there.
Fair enough. Watch long enough for Heyman and then leave before anything else happens.
Yeah, before you get a bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah, it's literally about to say before the taste sours. All right, so before we dive into all the nitty-gritty, how is everything with you in regards to wrestling?
I hardly watch it.
Hardly watch?
It's more or less if it's on, it's in the background because I have cable, but I only use it for sports. So I usually run stuff through their streaming apps on the Fire Stick. So usually I'll put Dynamite on and I'll be gumming around on my phone, flipping through Tinder or something, and then just kind of glance over my eye and see what's going on, and usually end up turning the channel, but you know.
Well, that speaks volumes to what a lot of people feel about the product. I mean, I myself have moments where I'm definitely like, okay, this is dragging ass, and I go to do something else, but
I couldn't see myself paying to go see it and see AEW live and enjoying myself.
Honestly, it's much better live than it is on TV. I enjoy it so much more in person than I do watching it on television. So much more.
I can't understand that because no picture-in-picture.
No picture-in-picture.
No commentary.
I do enjoy. I wish they piped in commentary. Truly, I do, because it would be happy. Or if they even offered up an option to where you could get like you do in a museum, where you go and you get the headset and it wirelessly connects to the audio and you can listen to it if you chose to. I would be all for that as an immersion thing. You can listen to the live commentary and even hear like the off-air shit as like a bonus. I think that would be cool as fuck. Someone should look into that. There it is. I get all the credit for the idea. You guys can use it.
Yeah.
Like we talked about, or me and the two Corys talked about last week when we were all recounting our trip to Holiday Bash, or whatever the fuck it's called. I think it was Holiday Bash.
So was it random you ran into Corey there, or did he kind of seek you out?
I knew he was going to be there, so I hunted him down. Yeah. So we knew each other were going to be there, so we planned to meet up and then all that stuff.
I did see, trailing back to the other week, I did see where they had opened up more seats. And they opened the upper deck up at Greensboro.
Yeah, there were a few people sitting up there. It wasn't a ton, but there were people with upper deck seats. The main thing to notice, like with the Greensboro show, and this will be not any rehash from last week, is that it, like on the side where the camera is, it didn't fill in until after the air quotes episode of Dark was over.
Okay.
Yeah, like everyone was kind of milling around out and about doing their merch stuff. And then when those few matches for that episode of Dark were done, then that side filled in. So at first I was like, damn, I didn't sell many seats over there. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, it's full.
Okay,
really,
so you
really
say
good.
overall Greensboro was a success as far as ticket sales.
Oh, for sure. I mean, they basically said, yeah, we're going to come back. And I'll still say one of the best things that happened was we, like, off air, we still booed Cody so hard that they redid a little congratulatory moment with him. Like, and he's even like, come on, we're off the air now. And, like, no one gave a shit because we're so tired of his act.
Mm-hmm.
But they called Hook out in that, and Hook smacked the fucking piss out of him right in the ring. So they pretty much said they're going to have Hook versus Cody the next time they come to Greensboro.
Spoiler!
Yep. So I'm excited about that, but all things considered, if you haven't seen him live, go see him live. I guarantee you can still get a ticket to fucking, this Saturday? Or, no, this Saturday.
I'm working Saturday, so...
Oh, that's right, yeah.
If I do go, it'll be Raleigh.
Yeah, you can easily get a ticket to the Raleigh show. Easy. And I mean, that's the one thing about AEW, even their cheap seat tickets, they're not bad. Better deal than other people.
Speaking of Saturday, I've been hearing that Battle of the Belts will only be a 1-hour show.
Yeah, pretty much. I assume Battle of the Belts is basically going to be like a fancy version of like Rampage.
Mm.
So, I mean, you're going to have your Dynamite and Rampage for this week, and then Battle of the Belts on the weekend. So it's a 3-show week, which isn't too bad, all things considered. That's quite good.
You know, I guess we better get into the recap of Dynamite because Rampage, boy, that's a talker.
I agree with some of like your comments that I saw. Like we mentioned, like what was it yesterday, possibly earlier today? I forget which was exactly. But I didn't think Rampage was quite the stinker that it could have been. But it didn't wow me. But we'll go to get into that here in a little bit. So this past week, Dynamite, the New Year's Smash Wednesday edition, followed by New Year's Smash New Year's Eve itself. I thought, honestly, out of the two shows, Dynamite was the best of the two. Just looking at the card right now, because it's hard to remember at times. One, how did you feel about the Matt Hardy and FTR combo going up against everybody? Christian Cage, Lucha, etc.
It was what it was. It
was what
really go home about.
Mm-hmm. But were you at least happy to see FTR do what FTR do?
Yeah, that was nice, but you had Matt Hardy in there, and you had Christian and the Chuckle Fucks. So.
I don't mind Jurassic Express since Marco Stunt's basically a non-entity now. I'm hoping he's going to be let go and just quietly released. Because I like Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. I do. They don't bother me at all. Marco Stunt was the only part of that trio that irked me in any way. Since it's transitioned more over to Christian Cage in a mentor capacity, I'm much more for it than I was earlier on.
I do like that FTR is doing the old Power and Glory move.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
I can't remember what I called it, but...
the one they finished the match with?
Yeah.
The Big Rig?
No. That's the... Big Rig's a shot off of the Heart Foundation finisher.
Mm-hmm.
The Heart Attack's what it's called. I'm talking about the suplex leg drop.
Oh, yeah. Fuck, I can't remember what they called that. I really can't.
I can't either off the top of my head, but that was nice. I mean, it was better. It was better than them trying to work with the Lucha Brothers.
The Lucha Brothers are tricky to work with. Like every now and then, like for every good match that FTR does with the Lucha Brothers, they have like 3 where they get lost in the spots. And don't get me wrong, I enjoy the Lucha Brothers, but part of the reason why these matches are enjoyable when they go correctly is the clash of styles. FTR's hard-hitting old-school wrestling style, and then the Lucha Brothers' luchador style, of course. When it's firing on all cylinders, it's a damn good contrast, and it makes for, good viewing. But when they shit the bed, they shit the bed.
Mm-hmm.
Plain and simple. I love Penta, I like Ray, but there are quite a few times watching the matches where I'm just like, okay, there's a miscue, there's another miscue, too many extra steps, they've lost the flow, they salvaged it a little bit, but it's kind of hurt it overall. You can kind of see those moments happening when they're off by just like a fraction. And I feel like they need to be doing more direct stuff with one another to really build up that feud between the tag titles and the AAA tag titles.
Mm-hmm.
And that sort of jaw-jacking. I think they need more of that and less of the weird blended tag team business. A lot less. FTR getting the win because you had teams going together and, air quotes, egos clashing to set up like another story arc. That worked. It did. It made sense. You kind of saw it coming. And I have enjoyed FTR kind of being the hired guns of the Pinnacle. Like their little contract mercenary type guys that they send out and to the highest bidder. It's been pretty nice. I would like them to almost do more backstory and like formalization of that angle. You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like it needs to be talked up a bit more and maybe something to where other people come and try to buy that and JF's like, nah, fuck off. You don't have enough money. That sort of thing. Make the Pinnacle seem a little more, holier than thou instead of just here's one member doing something, here's another member doing something. It's too disconnected right now.
Yeah, they need to be back together again doing things, and they need to kick Spears out. That's just me.
I don't mind Spears, but I would say almost just make Spears into a weird manager like he is right now. I'm fine with him being a comical manager. Just other than that, I mean, he's living his best life right now. He doesn't have to fucking do anything, and he can ham it up a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not going to fault that at all. I do enjoy him trying to talk Wardlow out of taking those people to fucking Powerbomb Palace.
Mm-hmm.
I had to think of something that alliterated kind of well, and Palace was the first word that came to mind. It's not exactly the best one in the world, but it'll do. I didn't want to. It's like I didn't want to go Powerbomb City because it sounds like shit.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, yeah. How do you think they're doing with Wardlow? Speaking of, since he had a match on the card as well.
I mean, it's just like they're redoing what they did when they first came in.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you think it's a smart move to kind of take it back to step one and redo it, or do you think it's too little, too late? Or is it more?
I think he's still living on. Like I said, they could have done the Pinnacle faction of Wardlow as the big hoss, and FTR as the tag team specialist, and MJF as the ringleader.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would have been a perfect, Four Horsemen parallel that way. There's always some weird shit they wind up doing.
Really, I don't know how it just. They they've shit the bed with MJF and Wardlow really for 2 years because the Jericho thing kind of killed him. And then they did the Pinnacles, and it started getting good. And they went away from it, and now they're jumping in and out of it. It's just I don't know how to.
It has lacked consistency with the Pinnacle. Like, most of their factions have a pretty consistent, this is what they're doing, this is who they're with, this is the way they're doing it. But the Pinnacle's just been one of those, oh, we forgot MJF's in a faction. That's what it feels like to me. It's an odd one. It really is. I think they need to really reassess how the Pinnacle's being used. But Wardlow being back to just being the fucking dominator again, I like. And then just because of that one little vignette, I believe, from the other night, I'm just ready to see truly here pretty soon. I feel like it'll happen sometime this year. Within the first 6 months of the year, I think Wardlow's going to stomp a mud hole in MJF's ass.
Yeah, but they'll probably screw that up too.
I won't say they will yet. The track record has not been great on double crosses or like splintering of elements, but I'm going to withhold judgment until it actually happens, and then I'll know whether to shit on it or laud it. But as of right now, I know it's going to happen because, the more they mention Wardlow's contract with MJF, the more I'm just like, oh, he's going to get fed up with this shit real soon. It's like, part of me thinks I could see Wardlow getting the TNT championship and then MJF taking it from him, and then that just being like the straw that breaks the camel's back.
It would be better if FTR had a legitimate Cornette-like manager, and they bought Wardlow from MJF. That's how they separated them.
That could be pretty solid. It could.
Because then you would have FTR and their sleazy, cheating manager and his bodyguard.
I like that idea.
It's a rehash of Big Bubba Rogers, but it worked.
Hey, I mean, nothing wrong with paying homage.
But the problem is, Tully ain't. Tully's not the chicken shit manager. He's the old vet.
Yeah, Tully's a fucking grizzled vet from in the trenches. He's not gonna play cowardly bitch to anybody.
And that's the thing. That's a dead art. Is the sleazy manager, chicken shit manager.
It's honestly because I'm going to blame the WWE completely for this because it is their fault. Yeah, they phased out the manager. The manager is one of the best parts because, I mean, one, of course, the obvious, you had a mouthpiece to talk for someone that was absolute dog shit on the mic. And two, you had someone there to take all the heat if, say, your heel character was starting to get really popular. Kayfabe-wise, you had someone there who you could direct that venom towards, as opposed to the wrestler, so you could still like the wrestler but hate his manager and be like, it's the manager's fault he's this big a piece of shit. You know what I'm saying?
The perfect example where it works, Paul Heyman. And they refuse to call him a manager. He's an advocate.
Yeah, I mean,
because manager is too wrestling for sports entertainment, and look to Kevin Dunn.
Well, let's put it this way, not to malign the sex workers, but to use the old crass term, you can put all the lipstick on him you want, but a whore's still a whore. They can put all the fancy titles they want on Paul Heyman, but a manager's still a manager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And back to the manager thing, too, it used to be, here's the problem, though, a lot of these managers, there's so many small wrestlers now. Mm-hmm. Managers, there are a lot of wrestlers on AEW's roster that Jimmy Hart matches size for size.
It's true. It's true. Like back then, like it was easier because it was geared more towards the enormous motherfuckers.
Mm-hmm.
And so having some small, like smarmy guy like Slick or Jimmy Hart, etc., made sense because they were outsized. And their personalities were the biggest part about them. So, I mean, you can still do it. It's just you're going to have less of that manager looking completely dwarfed by the talent. You're just going to have to pair up the correct temperaments. It's going to have to be more on an emotional and personality wavelength as opposed to just physical. And that's much harder and more nuanced.
And the thing too, people don't go to wrestling school and go, hey, I want to learn how to be a manager. Everybody thinks they can be a wrestler now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem.
It's true. I mean, a lot of, granted, like, some of the managers, many of them did start off as wrestlers, though. Many. Not all. Not all. Many. Like, the Brain started off wrestling. Lou Albano started off wrestling.
But they realized they wasn't going to make it that way. They had to figure something else out.
They played to other talents they had that they were much better at. Both of them being able to get heat with words. Did Classy Freddie Blassie, wasn't he a wrestler first too?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's like a lot of them started off there and then transitioned over. So I mean, if you're,
Jimmy Hart wasn't a wrestler. He was he was a singer.
Mm-hmm. And we all know for a fact Slick wasn't a wrestler.
Nope, he was a reverend.
Yep. So I mean, it just depends. It's like I would like someone to offer up that sort of training again at a wrestling school. I think, sure. I mean, you could always go, like, get a little bit of the wrestling training so that way you can pull a few bumps for, like, the gag in the ring safely. But go there to learn to talk. Like,
but too, the programs don't set themselves up for managers to talk. Because what's the one problem you see with wrestling today? It's because of the WWF in the 90s. The interviewer doesn't interview. He just sticks a microphone and they eventually grab it and shoo them away.
Yeah, there's been a lot of that. I will say that slowly, I feel like AEW is getting better about not doing that. It still happens way too much. But I've seen more times recently where Tony, etc., have held on to their mics for much longer.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm liking it. So I'm hoping that they start slowly phasing off the grabbing the mic from.
Because one place where you need managers really more than anything is tag team wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
More so than singles. Because it makes sense. The tag teams need a manager.
There's two people to handle instead of one.
Yeah, and there's who can help coach and be like, hey, get that, If you watch, go back and watch the old stuff in the 80s, you can see managers instructing what to do. Hey, get a tag, and he's over here, and then, of course, the heel manager going to, that was their fair, Heenan was a great singles manager. Hart, I'm going back to Jimmy Hart, he was always more of a tag team manager.
Yep.
If you want to watch Jimmy Hart at his best, go YouTube and look up Memphis Wrestling and the First Family.
That's good shit. Yeah, that's some good stuff. I'm not gonna lie, I've seen a little bit of it. I know it's good. But because we've digressed so far, let's go ahead and wrap up Dynamite real quick.
Yeah.
There's still a few more things to go, and we were going off down into deep criticisms and such. Now, other things, I feel like you might enjoy Daniel Garcia a little bit. I'm just assuming because he wrestles more than he flippy flops, etc.
Mm-hmm.
possibly a little bit towards 2.0 as well, even though I think they're a bit goofy. I think they've still got that kind of hard-nosed, more wrestling.
The one that signed with Taz and didn't sign with Taz.
I don't think so. Daniel Garcia is the one that has the short shooter boots and the tall red socks. He's working that angle against Eddie Kingston right now. Him and 2.0.
I'm lost. That's one of the segments where I changed the channel.
I watch more Daniel Garcia. It's actually good. I mean, I can't remember if he did anything with Taz at the beginning, or maybe he fucking gaslighted Taz and it pissed him off. But I think you might enjoy Garcia in 2.0, or they might, have enough of a diamond of the rough quality for you and your preferred ways of seeing things done. Because Daniel Garcia is more of a wrestler, and Jeff Parker and Matt Lee 2.0, they wrestle old style, like dirty tag team without all the stupid bullshit. They don't wrestle like brawler style either. So they went up against Eddie Kingston and Santana and Ortiz, which is definitely a mishandled tag team. They need more love than what they're getting. But Garcia and 2.0 have been pulling dirty wins out during this whole feud, and I'm really liking it. I'm hoping that something comes from it.
Oh, I remember now hearing about this because he came back off tour and brought the program down.
Which one?
Jericho.
Oh, yeah. Jericho coming out, swinging the bat.
Yeah. I saw the bat swing, and I was like, ugh.
Yeah, it's just
Twitter.
It's just like with Jericho, it's like less is more. Less is more. Jericho doesn't need to be out there all the time. He needs, personally, I think Jericho needs to transition back into more managerial position, almost like Tully within the Inner Circle, and just direct the members as to what they need to be doing instead of him being basically the only person in that faction that fucking does anything. Next to Sammy. But as of right now, the only thing Sammy's doing is Ty Conti. But that's a comment for another moment. Anyway, we already talked about Wardlow and him powerbombing people to death. The TBS title tournament had its last semifinal match. Yes, the hose title. Jade Cargill.
Is it just me, or is this tournament taking forever?
It's because for some fucking reason, they wanted to delay it just so that way the finals would happen on Battle of the Belts. That's it. They strung it out so that way it would finish on a show all about the belts.
I do need to make a comment about this program. About this match. I didn't watch it, but I saw the pictures.
Yeah.
I didn't know till later Thunder Rosa was doing a Wolverine type gimmick.
An X-23.
But when I saw the picture, I was like, oh my god, it's Nikki Ass.
Oh, it was better than that. Come now. But yeah, I called it from the beginning. I feel like I'm still going to be paid off with this prediction since whenever this fucking started. Feels like it was back in October or some shit. I said Jade Cargill is going to get the push and get this belt. She's going to be the first one that gets it, and her beating Thunder Rosa pretty much proves it. Even though Rachel
Ruby Soho.
No. The one that came out and fucking cold-cocked Rosa on the side of the ring to get
Mercedes Martinez.
Yes. Yeah. I was thinking our names. I saw Rachel Rodriguez, or what's-her-face, from WWE's name a minute ago, and I got that information stuck in my head as opposed to Mercedes Martinez, who was also in WWE, whose name has that alliteration.
Apparently she's with multiple companies now because I think she's on Impact and AEW.
Hey, well, I mean, more power to her. If that opens up for another collab with Impact, I'm fine with that. But I would say we'll wait and see. But either way, it's good that they didn't give Jade the clean win over Rosa. They kind of did it how I suspected it wouldn't be a clean win. Something dirty would happen. And it did. Now, back to our manager stuff. Mark Sterling's a good manager. Not a great manager. But he's doing exactly what he needs to do. Talking it up, letting them ham it up a little bit, but him still being there, doing what he needs to do, doing the occasional ankle hook, being there for a comic spot if they need one, and then every once in a while popping in because he's also MJF's lawyer.
Well, hey, you said Jade Cargill's gonna get pushed and win this. How dare you say that? Because we all know AEW is not diverse.
Let's wait on that one. But then the final one, the match that you said you couldn't get into because it was more or less, I'm going to blame the Best Friends for it. For you, anyway. But the return of Red Dragon, or as most people know it, the reunion of the Undisputed Era. Their first match together in AEW against Best Friends.
I just didn't care.
I was excited for it.
But the Young Bucks have ruined Cole, and it's just I don't want to see this inevitably happen. I don't care. It's just the sooner he gets away from that crap, I think he'll be better because we can get good Adam Cole back, not comedy Adam Cole. But they're going to drag this out. And that's just all I got to say about it. You flash that banner up in front of me, I just go, I don't care. When Adam Cole did that match with Orange Cassidy and did all that goofy doofy shit, that right there was the final stake to the heart to me with Adam Cole.
Putting him in a program with Orange Cassidy is one of the things that just confuses me. I don't mind Orange Cassidy, don't get me wrong. I do enjoy him because I enjoy a good non-serious wrestler from time to time. I like to consider them the palate cleanser.
He'd be good in a manager spot. He does good when he's out there with Statlander just standing there and walking around with his hands in his pockets.
And he does do a lot of the hype stuff on the side of the ring. Sometimes he'll play it up with the character where he's doing the light slaps, but when he gets hyped, he goes from 0 to 100. That's the thing that I also like.
It would work because when the person he's managing wants gratification for what he's doing, he can do that half-ass thumbs up, and it'll actually, I would give it a chuckle, because it's you're doing all right.
Yeah, I kind of like that idea as well. It's just, his gimmick is so left field from what you would expect. It's definitely an acquired taste. It's definitely not for everybody. And even then, it's definitely hard to watch one of his matches and take it truly seriously. I just have to be all right, I'm going to watch an enjoyable choreographed movie fight. And I'm going to sit back and I'm going to watch it from that angle instead of pretending it's a realistic, sporting event.
I like Red Dragon, but I'm not going to give a shit until we have them versus FTR, because that's the only tag they can roll with.
That will happen before too long. I'm sure it will. But as of right now,
if they bring the Briscoes in, there's 3 teams right there that can lead your tag division.
It's true.
I'm sorry to all you on that Young Bucks bandwagon. They're not the greatest tag team in history. They suck. And
I feel
they were a flavor of the week when they first started up. They were cool and it was new and it was neat, and then it became the same shit all over again. And I don't care for them.
I need them to kind of reinvent themselves by going back and looking what made them good to begin with, instead of what they're doing right now, which I've seen some people mention it along with how Cody's doing what he's doing right now. And I'm like, I like the way this works, but I really don't know whether they had the long-term vision for this or they just bumbled into it. But I preferred the way they were when they were the up-and-comers hustling and doing stuff with like an edge. They were scrappy, they were bringing it up. Now it's like they're the we've got money trying to do it over again type of things. So it's like all they want to do for their heel stuff is just show off how much money they've got. When before, when they were heels, there was still the comedy involved and the shenanigans, but they
when I liked them, they were cocky and arrogant, and it worked. It doesn't work now.
Well, I feel like the main reason it doesn't work now is because they're really playing up the fact that they're rich. And having watched them in the past,
maybe it was just because they were in Bullet Club that made it work.
There's a small chance of that. Bullet Club turned a lot of things into fucking gold. But I mean, I still do like the Bucks. Do I like the way they're doing what they're doing right now? No. Do I like heel Bucks more than face Bucks? Leaps and bounds better. But both, like AEW Bucks.
Let's throw Omega in there too. AEW Omega and AEW Bucks sucks compared to Bullet Club, Omega and the Bucks.
It's true. They've dumbed them down quite a bit. They need to get some of the edge back, and every time there's a slight like hint of it, they stuff it away with some sort of other mess. Because, I mean, I can't say that Kenny wasn't doing comedy and silly shit in Japan when he was with Bullet Club, because he certainly fucking was. His whole gimmick as the cleaner was he came out like a fucking janitor with a broom. That was his initial, idea to turn it on the heads of, everything. But
that Bullet Club banner to get you a whole nother level. I'm sorry, but it does.
It does. It does indeed. And, even before he was in Bullet Club, I had seen plenty of Kenny's matches, and they were damn good. It's just, I don't know. There's something that they've lost along the way that they need to find again to really bring them back to the fore, so to speak. They're just...
The Bucks were better when they had the junior division.
Agreed.
There you go. There it is. They had the junior division. Kenny, at his best, I won't say it was his world title reign. The Okada matches were great, but really the better Omega was when he was the junior heavyweight champion.
Mm-hmm. But that's the curse of most of those things. It's like, unless you're willing to just lean into it and devote yourself to that era, or that level.
Omega's world title reign in Japan was he was gifted with great people.
Yeah, like his heavyweight title reign definitely worked to its favor with the crew he was with, for sure. Now, it's just the fact that everyone always treats the junior heavyweight title as like an ancillary title. That's part of the reason why many of these guys move up and throws the dynamic off. And that's the curse of the way things are. If you always treat the heavyweight title as the best of the best, then it's going to do that every time. That's pretty much with every type of sport that has those different divisions. Anything that's not heavyweight or not the biggest performers is going to be treated second class. So it is what it is. Do I think they could definitely reinvent themselves and get back to a way where I enjoy them much, much more? Because, I mean, don't get me wrong, I still enjoy them. I do. Yes. And they need to figure it out. Adam Cole, he hasn't been tainted enough. But they need to figure out what they're going to fucking do with the story arc to really sell it. It's still early on. I'm not going to,
the bad taste is there already.
It's on the edge. It's like they burnt the onions before they were making the gravy, so you've got that tinge on the finish. You're like, it's good, but something's off. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So fingers crossed they figure it out. But all I can say is I was fucking stoked to see the O'Reilly and Bobby Fish come out to the Red Dragon entrance. I still fucking love Bobby Fish's entrance music. And they still work
on my Apple Music.
Excellent. And they still work like a well-oiled machine, those two.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping that there's enough of a schism right now that keeps Cole, O'Reilly, and Fish away from each other, and they just kind of hint and, like, blow kisses at one another instead of just coming straight up and, stealing one away from the other. It's just one of those things that dances on the periphery for a while O'Reilly and Fish run roughshod over some other tag teams and stuff, and they build a story, as opposed to just immediately turning it into this weird love triangle. Because it's already had some back and forth of that. It already has. But I'm hoping that they do a little more with it than that. But seeing them do...
Maybe they'll all go to Chili's.
They'll go to Cracker Barrel. You know how the Bucks are.
Oh, no, you don't hear nothing about Cracker Barrel anymore.
Well, it still happens. They share some pictures every once in a while. It probably just costs a little more for them to mention Cracker Barrel on air now. But, yeah. It has potential. And just seeing them do Chasing the Dragon, I was just like, yeah, there we go. Mm-hmm. And hearing it called that on air, I was like, oh, they didn't shy away from the drug reference. Very nice. Very nice. But moving on to Friday, and your favorite show of the week, Rampage, this past week. For me, it was just kind of meh. I didn't think it was awful. I didn't think it was great. Now, do I think it was as good as Bleacher Report said, where the Caster and Darby or not Caster, but Bowens and Darby match got a B-? I kind of agree with that match, because Bowens is good, Darby's always enjoyable to watch, and they let them do what they do without too much nonsense.
It was probably decent. I just didn't pay attention to it. I was probably.
Now, just like you mentioned the other day, because you did bring this up,
the rap was funny.
The rap was funny. Yes, he's getting better at them all the time. But the one thing, and I remember you mentioning this, I don't really understand why fucking Andrade came out.
Yeah.
No clue. No clue. I'm going to skip the middle one, because I know that's the one we want to talk about the most. No, I should go ahead and dive into that. They gave the street fight, which I'm real fucking tired of everything being called a street fight. Unless you're actually fighting in the streets, it's not a street fight. This is just a fucking, hardcore match. They gave it a B+.
Ugh. Here's my problem.
Okay.
I didn't give a shit about this feud. I didn't give a shit about anybody involved in it. Let's give you an example. Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker. we gave a shit about. It was for the
Mhm.
Women's World Championship, and they had a blood feud,
Yes.
and it led to that.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I was watching this, and I was just like, I went in back and forth. I checked between to see if the football game had gotten any better or not, but I turned it back, and I'm just, why does nobody cares about any of these people having a death match? And then it just got even more garbage. It went hardcore, then it went garbage death match, and this is on national TV.
Yeah, it's like with this one, I think they've built this for a while. Don't get it. This one has had some build up. Now, were we as invested in it as the Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker build up? No, because they're main eventers. Ty Conti could get there one day. The Bunny could get there. Penelope Ford will never get there. Anna Jay has potential, but I think she's going to be relegated to the mid card unless like something happens where she gets a little more dynamic. You with me so far?
Yeah.
They have told a story between these two teams for quite some time now, all thanks to the antics of the Bunny and her and Penelope's liberal use of brass knuckles to fuck people over. And having done so with Anna Jay and Ty Conti on a pretty regular basis. From about, let's say, just after All Out up until this. Did they do it often enough to get anyone truly invested? In my opinion, no. It is like they maybe hit on it, from what I could tell, maybe once, possibly once a month, occasionally maybe 2 times in 1 month. A couple backstage dust-ups, but not enough or often enough to really, really sell it. I mean, you knew it was happening. It was there.
Let's put it to this sense. How many times in the history of wrestling has a lower mid-card feud ever went to a street fight?
Unless it was during the Attitude Era, I couldn't tell you of one.
Bingo. And that's what this is. This was nothing but a lower tier, hit on the strength of the card, mid-card feud.
Mm-hmm. And that's why we had no true investment in it.
If we look at and here's the thing too, matches that have been drug out to street fights, let's think about the ones in history. Crap, I just forgot.
Any of the ones...
Manny Fernandez and Magnum TA.
Yeah.
It was at Starrcade, but it was a upper mid card match.
Mm-hmm.
Dusty and
oh fuck! I know the one you're talking about, and I can't think of it. Yeah, good example. I wish I could think of it right now, but I cannot think of the other person. Yeah, but I know exactly which one you're talking about. It wasn't one of the times he was doing something with any of the Horsemen. It was shit.
Tully.
Was Tully
went to a street fight?
Okay, yeah. I was thinking of, was this not long after the leg breaking incident?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, yeah. Then you're right. It is Tully.
And we go into the WWF in the mid-90s, the Chicago street fight between the Legion of Doom and the Nation.
Mm-hmm.
They were mid-card. They were, Legion of Doom, Road Warriors.
Yeah. They already had some pedigree behind them, so them doing it on the mid-card had a little more pull.
Yes, and the
same
Nation
thing
was a formidable, you were invested.
It was a hot up-and-coming
happen.
faction. We remember 90s Nation. It started off strong and a little weird, but then what was now did this happen?
I was actually watching Nation stuff the other week, or this week, when Farouk got rid of turns out they were PG-13. I didn't know that. The rappers, when he got rid of the white rappers and got rid of a lot of the people that was just there.
Yeah, the equivalent of the minions from the Dark Order.
Yeah, when he got rid of them and it was D'Lo, he brought in Mark Henry. The Nation was a freaking beast.
Yep. The Nation was fucking nasty, and then once they got The Rock, it was even more so. Like, they were a hot, up-and-coming faction. But and all those people that joined it had pedigree. You know what I mean? They had name recognition. Penelope Ford, the Bunny, Ty Conti, Anna Jay. We know who they are, but for this, it just doesn't work. I mean, this is the way it works. If I were to call this a bad match, like bad, for me, I'd be lying. Was it a great match? Fuck no, it wasn't great. Was it entertaining? Yes. But it wasn't.
If this was on ECW TV in the mid-90s, it'd be a good match.
Yeah.
But for a program that's trying to be a number 2 to the WWE, or possibly supersede WWE, nah, this wasn't a good match. This was just this shit belonged on GCW on Internet pay-per-view.
I'll say fair enough. Fair enough. I will say that even though a lot of people will say it looked botched, I thought that Penelope Ford's moonsault and the table not breaking made sense. Because it looked like she played it safe with that moonsault. Where she didn't flip so far out. She flipped short distance, enough to make contact, but also enough to use the hands to break the fall in the apron.
And we had the tail of bladers. You had the one.
Oh God, it was so fucking obvious this time. Jesus Christ.
And one who didn't blade enough.
Yeah. It's like the Bunny went whole hog, and then Ty Conti was just like, nip. Because the Bunny was just gushing.
Yeah, see, that's the thing too. Modern people probably don't remember the little cheats of the old days, such as taking a couple shots of liquor before you got and thinning your blood out.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you an example. This was talked about before this match ever happened. Are you familiar with the new Midnight Express angle where Cornette got the bloody white suit?
Yes, I am familiar, but go on.
So he over-geeked himself because he didn't take into account that studio was cold.
Ah,
so
yes.
When he nicked, he knew what he did afterwards.
Once he heated up.
He nicked and nothing came out. So he nicked a couple more times, and so then once it got flowing, it ended up being a big thing because he, the famous bloody white suit angle, but he said originally he wasn't supposed to bleed that much, but he over-nicked himself because it was so cold in the building. He didn't start bleeding. He thought he missed.
Yep.
So one thing they said was, going back to the liquor thing, this was what they used for Lex Luger, who had never played before and was worried about it not bleeding enough. So they told him to take a couple shots of liquor because it naturally thins your blood out and you bleed more.
Yep.
But it just looked like to me the Bunny geeked herself a little too good.
She definitely did.
And because they were the ladies, they were geeking up in their hair too.
Yeah.
Did you notice
that? They were doing right up in the hairline. Which is where, honestly, most people are doing it now anyway. No one's going full-blown forehead anymore. Like, you're not going to see the Dusty and Abdullah scars anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's just not going to happen. Everyone's going to gig, like, right there along the hairline, right above, like, say, the eyebrow ridge. Places where it's easily concealed. That's it. It's just all of them. And this is one thing that kind of fucked this match up for me, too. It's like, as soon as the Bunny went under the ring, I was like, she's getting ready to go juice. That's all that's going to happen. Like, it's so fucking obvious. Same thing, like, they cut away from Ty Conti for fucking ever when she was laying on the ground. I was like, she's getting ready to juice. This is... They don't do it smoothly.
And the problem is, everybody... Because of the Attitude Era and Ruthless Aggression Era, everybody thinks everybody has to bleed, and it's not the case.
No, I mean, save it. Save it. Use it for important parts. I mean, Cody does it way too fucking much.
Yeah.
I swear to God, with Cody, it's like every other fucking match. I was like, oh no, you breathed on me too hard. Jesus Christ, you cut my forehead. It was just badly done.
We won't dub a blood, but it needs to be believable.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Coming up from the Attitude Era like both of us did, even though we both also saw a lot of the older shit, we love a good bloodbath. We do.
When it means something. Rebecca Thunder Rosa. It deserved to be a bloodbath because
that shit sold shirts. It's become an iconic view. I mean, hell, they use it in promotional packages now. That's how good it was because it fucking meant something.
Are you going to use this in a promotional package? No.
No.
They will for their own personal.
Yeah, like for like fucking highlight reels or like, say if they ever got fired.
A wrestling T-shirt or something.
Yeah, if they ever got fired or like needed to sell some 8x10s at a fucking convention or something, it would be on their video resume, and it'd be some pictures that get signed. But I mean, it's a forgettable match. Was it bad? No. Was it B+ good? No. Was it entertaining? Sure.
I see what you did there.
Yes, a little bit. But I will say that the superplex onto the tacks, that was nice. That was probably the best spot of the match, the superplex onto the tacks. The barbed wire Queenslayer, that was a bit too John Moxley rear naked choke for me. That
was some gimmicky barbed wire, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Did you see how long the studs were on that barbed wire?
Yeah.
Someone fucked up when they made it. So what they did.
I ain't never seen that kind of lows.
I mean, at least
see, that's the thing too about stuff like that. You know, Cactus Jack. I even give Moxley credit. At least they used store-bought barbed wire.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they sanded down the tips to where they were a little more blunted. A lot of them would do that. They'd actually put the time in to use the real shit, but they would gimmick it in a way to where it didn't look cheap and fake on screen. It looked legit, but unless they were to zoom in real fucking close, you wouldn't be able to tell that they blunted the points. It'd still be sharp enough to catch you if it hit really hard, but not enough like if you were going to say do like the rake or the naked choke like Mox did. Now, from them fucking all the nepotism, them putting a fucking belt on Cody again, he really didn't fucking need it. But this next match was just didn't enjoy it, and they gave it an A-.
Here's the thing, I wasn't invested in it. I didn't care.
I like Ethan Page. I mean,
that's right. It was Ethan Page.
Yeah,
see, I don't know who it was.
I like Ethan Page. I do. I like Cody.
The only good thing about this match was Arn Anderson's promo.
Yes, Arn.
Good about it.
Arn still got it when he wants to have it. Every now and then he'll stumble on things just because he's not in practice. He's not doing it all the time anymore. But
when there's holes in the ramp.
Yeah, but ever since Glock Anderson, he's been fucking gold. Let's put it that way. Glock Anderson reinvigorated the Arn Anderson promo. Plain and simple. Like before, it was just like, it just sounded like a bumbly old man. Now he's got some fucking edge behind him again, you know? There's some actual teeth behind these words. And I do like Dan Lambert, but he is a very, very dollar store Jim Cornette wannabe.
It's more or less he just listens to his podcast and just takes notes.
Yeah, like I said, dollar store. Dollar store. But yeah, this match right here, we knew East Page wasn't going to win because Cody's not going to drop that belt very soon. If he does drop it, I'd be fucking surprised if it
won't be till after Big Show goes off.
or when it starts up again or whatever. Yeah, it's just there's something that
have you talked about the shirt yet?
Yes. I saw it. I was just like, what a fucking crock of shit. Oh my god. What was it? Heel, face, fucking
winner.
Yeah, heel, face, fucking EVP. Here's the only way, and I saw someone mentioned this in the Facebook group a while back. They're like, it doesn't matter whether Cody's heel or face right now. It doesn't matter. Because you want him to do one, and he's not. So him working this face angle is the most heel thing he can do. And as much as I fucking hate it and I want him to go traditional heel, once I read that, I was like, that makes fucking sense. It really does. Play it up so fucking goody-goody, but like little hints of you being a smarmy fucktard, and it's goddamn gold.
But you know what we've learned the most from Cody in the past year? Really.
He cares about other stuff.
We've learned why he went only as far as he did in WWE. Well, he never went anywhere further than the mid card. So apparently they saw something and they seen the peak.
It's like I really think he could do better, but I mean, unless he
really,
like I'm saying,
for me, the best thing he done in WWE was the disfigured Cody angle.
That was great.
I mean, and bringing back the old school Intercontinental title. Those were the only two things I gave a crap about him. Even the gold Dusty him tag team deal.
Oh, Stardust and Goldust?
No. When they first did it, when Dusty was still alive.
Oh yeah.
The thing I hate about that was it was Goldust. Which is what I don't like about Dustin in AEW. He's still doing the face paint Goldust crap.
Well, it's only half.
You know, if he was gonna, my biggest complaint about the WWE thing was, why don't you just you brought back Dustin Reynolds one time whenever they did that thing in the, right before he got fired.
Mm-hmm.
Why couldn't they owned the rights to WCW, so why couldn't they just brought back the natural and it made a whole lot more it made a better visual.
Yeah.
He's not a main event guy.
Don't get me wrong,
he thinks he is, but
he definitely thinks he is.
Not.
And I like Cody, I do. But the way he's been self-managing and self-promoting and the way he's been working in the ring, he doesn't fucking deserve any of the shit that he has right now.
And why is Triple H living rent-free inside of his head?
Because, much like you were saying, Cody knows he doesn't deserve it, so he's got to take pot shots at someone that probably called that shit like he saw it back in the day.
It's just...
I mean, do I think Cody has potential to do it? Yeah, but he's got to figure out something other than just ripping off shit that his family's done in the past. That's my thought.
Quit getting sledgehammers out. Like I said, and quit taking like I think I said it before on this podcast. Him and Brandy are obsessed with being Triple H's child.
It's true. They really.
The only difference is Triple H and Stephanie. They don't like being out in the limelight.
No.
Do you see them doing a reality show?
Nope.
you know, they do their WWE stuff, and they go home, and their family life is cut off from the rest of the world. You don't see their kids everywhere.
No, I don't think their kids have been on TV in years.
Only time you saw their kids was at that, and they didn't. But here's the thing: they didn't acknowledge it. You kind of got it when she kind of winked. It was when the WrestleMania West went to where they came down on the motorcycle.
Yeah.
When they rode by the kids, she winked at them.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't like the announcer going, "Oh, there's the children of Stephanie and Triple H." Blah blah blah.
Yep.
Now, get me wrong. When this baby gets older, they're going to be flaunting that thing all over AEW.
Yeah. Cody's just so fucking peculiar, man. And it's like
And the big question: why is Brandy there half the time when she doesn't need to be?
Brandy's just, like I said, Brandy doesn't have anything else to fucking do. Like, she was a mediocre wrestler. Then
Mediocre is a strong word.
I'm gonna give benefit of the doubt. I'm gonna use mediocre and be halfway nice.
I mean, she was better than Big Swole. I'll give her that.
Okay. But let's see, what was it? Injuries and a few other things, and she didn't wrestle much anymore. And then every time she gets in the ring, it looks like a fish out of water. Those two, for my money, are the biggest examples of nepotism in AEW. Those two. Anyone else, they tend to do a better job at keeping it low-key and still putting other people over. Now, people argue and say, Cody put tons of people over. It's like, Cody did a lot of, he brought people in to wrestle during his open challenges and got some people some limelight and some, exposure. But no one beat him.
Yeah.
He didn't put anybody over. He brought a lot of talent in, which is good. He got eyes on people that wouldn't normally get eyes on. That's good. I'll applaud him for it.
But he brought people in to make him look good.
Exactly. And I'll still say Warhorse out-wrestled him in that match that he had with him.
Danhausen would agree with you.
Yeah, and, I mean, I would love to see Danhausen show up in AEW as long as they don't touch and let Danhausen do what Danhausen do. No touching. Let Danhausen be Danhausen. He's just an aloof force to be reckoned with. Don't try to shoehorn him into anything.
I would love
weird
to have,
stories.
you know how big they make cussing out on AEW. I would love for Danhausen to be doing a promo, so they start cussing and he goes, "Now cursing."
I would love that. It'd be fucking great.
That would be so great.
I swear it. Oh man, I do hope he lands there.
Do you know what sold me on Danhausen?
What?
The first match I ever saw him do was against that that guy in Ring of Honor. It was the free match on Final Battle.
Oh, the one with the big beard? Was it his contract?
John Brown's, it was the contract match or something.
Yeah.
And he put Danhausen between the ring apron and he went under the ring and he was like, "Where is he?" And Danhausen just stuck his head up through the ring mat and went, "Ah!" It scared him.
I mean, Danhausen comedy is fun. It's not.
I could buy more into the Orange character if they made them a tag team.
They've been a tag team on the Indies, which is
that's what I'm saying. On the Indies, that would work.
Mm-hmm. I would like to see it. I would like to see them bring Warhorse in with Danhausen and do a Warhausen angle. Do the greatest hits of Danhausen. Just, pair him off with people he's wrestled with in the past. And just let him do his thing. Not as in having matches with people he's already wrestled. No, pair him up with people he's wrestled with, as in, tag teams. Him and PCO, him and Warhorse, him and Orange Cassidy, etc., etc. Not so much that it just seems like you're doing a best
Well, you
of.
know his opening promo will be great because he'll go, Tony Khan gave me lots of money, that's why I signed.
Lots of human money. Danhausen had bills to pay.
Danhausen broke his leg.
Doctors took all of Danhausen's bags of money.
But with Tony Khan, they could really make it. Like I said, comedy with Danhausen works. Like he could just like come out with like a wheelbarrow full of bags of money.
Oh man, I think
and just come out and be like, I signed with AEW.
Yes, I think with Danhausen, what would behoove them is letting Danhausen actually interact with Tony Khan and just play up the fact that Tony Khan's ludicrously rich.
Mm-hmm.
Just play it up to a comedic amount. Don't let like it go the route of Tony playing like the rich heel. No. Tony likes to have fun with things, and that's one thing I respect about him. He's having a fucking blast doing this shit. He still loves it.
I've got the perfect line. Tony Khanhausen. Elon Musk built a rocket. Why haven't you? Danhausen wants a rocket. A gold rocket. Just like these stupid backstage segments where Danhausen's trying to get more money off Tony.
Yes. Oh God, him and Britt Baker and a teeth gimmick. Just have him showing his jars of teeth to Britt Baker since she's a dentist. Oh, things could be done without like.
And he really wouldn't have to wrestle. He'd just wander around backstage. It'd be like the Boogeyman, but funny.
Yes. But yeah, let's hit a few final things because I mean that's amazing how long we talked about just Dynamite and Rampage. But
I've had more fun talking about Danhausen.
I know we had a good time talking about Danhausen because Danhausen's Danhausen. But anyway, so some big stuff to come out of this week.
Danhausen's free agent.
Danhausen's free agent. Yes, sign Danhausen. But the biggest thing, and the main one, I think honestly, we'll hit this, and we can just move on from here. Because anything other than that will just be rehashing the same old shit. Is the kerfuffle brought about by Big Swole and Tony Khan, respectively. All right, so as we know, the backstory, what was it, a week or two ago, Big Swole announced that she's,
parting ways.
They came to a mutual decision about her release. They had the official, statement on it saying that they just were going different directions creatively. It had nothing to do with, performance, etc. Those were, Tony Khan's words, more or less, paraphrased, of course, in this, separation. But...
And we all cheered.
All right. I mean... Personally, I still think she had potential. Was she great? No. I think they could have done something with her, but they didn't do it the right way. That's my thoughts. Well, I guess I don't know any way to put it other than whoever couldn't leave well enough alone, so Big Swole said more. And said it was a lack of diversity and she mentioned nepotism too, yeah?
I think it was just diversity.
Just diversity? I thought she mentioned the nepotism too.
She played the card.
Okay. And then, in the more ill-advised move of any, and the thing that shows that Tony Khan's still very new to the limelight, he tried to clap back. And goddamn, if it didn't open up a whole new fucking can of worms. Because first thing he did was directly address the card, so to speak, as we've mentioned.
Yeah. I mean, it was stupid for her. Let's just go ahead and
It's stupid for both of them, in my opinion. Stupid for both of them. If she believed that was the case, yes, that's fine. Air your grievances, but don't do it on like something like Twitter, because no one. Twitter's bullshit. It's a bullshit place. It's a cesspool. Follow us on Twitter, though. That's the worst avenue to do it. There's no nuance. If you're going to do it in, say, an interview or something, that's fine. But I would, honestly...
But here's the thing about it.
Wait a little while.
She claimed diversity when you can just watch 5 minutes of the program and call bullshit on what she said.
I mean, she was talking about people also not getting pushes like they should have. I can partially agree with one.
He's getting ready to be the TBS champion.
Probably Jade, in all honesty. Like, if it's not Jade, I'll be fucking surprised. But I still think it's going to be. It's... Anytime we've got to talk about race. It's like, personally, I don't want to stick my foot in my mouth, so I play it a little safe. I try to, figure out a way to get my words across in a way that, like, won't be misconstrued. Is it perfect? No. But here's the thing. And I don't want to assume things because I'm not her, but the way it came across on Twitter, when she mentioned diversity, I don't think she meant full diversity. Because she talked about people that looked like her. And when you look at AEW's card, or like their people, like the people that work there, they have a very diverse roster. Now, are some of the people that you think should be getting pushes? No. But some of the ones who I would like to see get pushes just got fucking hired. Like Jay Lethal just got fucking hired. He should be somewhere. Scorpio Sky, he was the first part of the first fucking tag champions.
Yeah.
He and AEW loves fucking tag teams. Honestly, the tag team division's bigger than the fucking singles division. He's part of that. Cody is mixed ethnicity, but it's hard to play that one up too much. But he is Sammy Guevara, Hispanic, Latino, whichever way. I forget the exact way to properly delineate between the two of those terms, because I know there's like some nuanced version and it slips my mind every time I learn it. There's something that I hear again that gets it confused in my head, and I'll apologize ahead of time if I used it incorrectly. But there's that. Who else? Let's see.
Miro's Bulgarian.
Yeah, Miro is Bulgarian, but I can't really count.
And we
Miro.
forgot to mention that about Rampage. See, you can only stay in the room with space and time but so long.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
coming out there pretty soon.
He does. Everyone's going to be 103 and Miro's still going to be the same age. I can't so much count Miro because even though he's from Eastern Europe, I think he's still just a white guy. But I'm not 100% on.
But let's just fold into it. What I think happened was when Tony Khan decided he told her wrestling wasn't good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to let you go. So we're going to give you a good gracious send-off to where it doesn't sound like we let you go because he wasn't good enough.
We're going to say we came to a mutual decision. You're ready to move elsewhere. We're not going to say it was a matter of performance.
But in reality, we're letting you go because your wrestling wasn't good.
Mm-hmm.
And then she goes off and hauls back and makes this, what it is, a dumbass claim.
Mm-hmm.
And so Tony Khan sees that and goes, oh, after we went to this level to try and save your grace instead of telling the truth, okay. Yeah, he first party when he goes, oh, him and his wife are, I guess the Khans are Middle Eastern.
I believe so. I forget the exact term because I don't have the tweet pulled up right now, and it'd take me a little while to find it.
I think he said they were people of color themselves, but anyway,
yes.
He started listing people. Then he said, you're just mad because your wrestling wasn't good enough. And which, in truth, he was correct.
Yeah, it came off.
You had she had 3 years to get better, and she never got better. She brought Britt Baker down because of her feud. And she, not only that, how many was she? A botch fest too. So, get the fuck out of here.
It's like, here's my fault. It's like, one, Tony just came back in the most petty and childish way possible. Okay?
But he's been doing that forever. And that AEW, he comes back at him.
That right there, I think, is the main problem with this. He could have.
I will give Tony Khan credit.
Mm-hmm.
He will not challenge Cornette.
No.
If you notice, he will always go, well, Jim's been a good influence and blah blah blah. He will never counter that one. Mm-hmm. He'll go on these radio shows and he'll just bicker with people.
Yeah. He likes to bicker.
It wasn't out of his. It wasn't out of.
It wasn't out of character.
It wasn't out of character for him, but the whole thing should have never. The whole conversation should have never happened. She should have just not even opened that stupid door.
It's just like, I'm going to say, in a way, she's not seeing the forest for the trees. Okay? In terms of title picture-wise and who's getting the big pushes, if we only look at one belt, the main one, she's right. If we only look at Pretty Platinum, she is correct. If we look at the other two sets, she is incorrect. If we look at the company as a whole, it skews a little pale, but there is much more diversity there than some of the other places. I mean,
here's the thing too.
Okay.
You don't take into context of that big belt who they brought in to put that big belt on. If they landed on Bobby Lashley, I can guarantee you Bobby Lashley would have held that belt by now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just who you are and how big you are.
Now,
sorry, but a lot, Powerhouse Hobbs is green. He's still.
Yeah. It's not time for him to have that belt.
He's an eventual world champion. He's got the quality for it, but he's not there yet.
Same thing with Hook. I think Hook could do it, but it's too fucking early.
And honestly, the whole thing, if Jade does win the TBS title, it may be too early for her because she is so green. She's going to sink or swim.
Uh-huh. It is what it is. I mean, she can, perceive things the way she would like, and I'll not call her wrong because that's the way she saw it. But in the grand scheme of things skew much differently than what she's saying to me. Mind you, from what I see. Am I behind the scenes to see every tiny little thing that's going on, all the nuanced backstage stuff, etc., etc.? Fuck no, I'm not. Because I didn't learn to wrestle, and I'm not doing that sort of thing. I'm just here to watch wrestling and
I'm sorry,
comment on it.
That's a card that's always going to be thrown when somebody doesn't get their way.
It is definitely there.
It's one of the worst. It's one of the worst things about living in this time frame.
But
we're
going to have to admit, though, that there are times where it is 100% valid. I just don't feel like this time necessitated that. nor matched up with it.
And it's because the people who use it, like this situation here, is why so many people don't give a shit about it. There's many times that people have cried wolf and tried to use that card to get an advantage. And, it's just the cry wolf theory.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually people just like, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it makes it really tricky. Like, and this is the thing. It's like, I like having these these discussions like this. They are very, very nice. They make you think and attempt to, get to
the example. It would be an issue if in the 90s they never put a title on The Rock.
Uh-huh.
And he came back and joined the Nation and got hot. They didn't put that Intercontinental title on him. Yeah, I would have seen a problem there.
Yeah.
Bobby Lashley, if he hadn't been a world champion, I'd raise an eyebrow and went, huh. The biggest case in WWF was, for a long time, was Booker T. He was overdue to be a champion.
Mm-hmm. Was
it race? We don't know.
No.
We just know they did a racism angle between him and Triple H, and Triple H came out on top.
Mm-hmm. It's, and like I was about to say, at the
same time, you're only as good as you are. Whether who cares about the color of your skin? It's just how good you are. Are you main event level?
But well, let's put it this: booking is. I'm going to say booking 75% of it. To circle back to what I was about to say before, this subject is one of the hardest ones to talk about, especially if you're not a person of color. But I do like having these conversations every so often because they really do make you take a step back and think about what it is and look and see whether you perceive the same thing or if you're noticing some of these things. And oftentimes I'm just, I'm at a loss. But let me check something real quick. I'm reading a statement Will Hobbs made about this, so be
I think I saw that.
Yeah, I'm reading it right now. I like what he said. He may not have taken sides, but at the same time, I think he addressed what he saw. And, he didn't say any party was wrong. He just definitely said that people tend to forget that Tony and Mega are, is it Tony's wife?
Yeah.
They're people of color, and they're doing a good job of creating a fairly diverse wrestling company. He said that they value his input and that he has been listened to for creative decisions, and that he's aware that diversity comes in many forms, not just black, white, etc. He lists everything: women, black, Latinx, East Asian, South Asian, Southeast Asian, LGBTQ plus, and more. He's like, the more diversity, equity, and inclusion we can build in wrestling, the more fans we can engage with, and the more fun we can all have together. I like that part right there. That's the best part of everything he said. Building up that diversity, and what they're doing allows everyone to have more fun with the product because you have something you can relate to. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, it's a young company led by people of color, and it's heading in the right direction, which I think is subtle for it. It's not perfect, but it's getting better all the time.
In wrestling, at the end of the day, you got to get over the crowd, and your stuff's got to be championship level.
It's true. It's true. I mean, if you don't have the talent, it's not going to work. And, it is what it is. I can't go much further than saying it like that. And while it sounds slightly dismissive, it's not meant to be. I think diversity is a very big thing that needs to be, paid attention to.
In no way Big Swole deserves to be the women's champion.
Not anytime soon.
She got the title shot, and we saw what that did.
it was too early for that. She
And
was
it brought
nowhere.
down, and it brought down Britt Baker.
She was nowhere close to ready for it. Like, I mean, you can push it because you're shallow division, because the women's division was hella shallow when that happened. Like, there was basically like nothing. It was not great. It has gotten leaps and bounds better since then, and that's probably another reason why she felt slighted. More and more talent coming in that is exceeding her own skill level. And so when that happens, of course, you're going to move further down the ladder. That's a matter of talent and not so much other things. But yeah, it's just, it's a really hard subject to do justice on a wee podcast. You just kind of do what you can do. Moving on, the other big thing that comes kind of hot on the heels for this, and John had a fairly hot take on this earlier, is AEW signed Jake Atlas after his dark match on Wednesday. Jake Atlas being an openly homosexual wrestler who was formerly an NXT star before being released during one of the rounds of budget cuts. And
So he was mid.
probably so, to use the old MJF terminologies. But it's one of those things where the timing of that signing, almost like to the wrong person, lends validity to kind of what Big Swole was saying. It's one of those things
What's
that
your
it's the
favorite
wrong
Jake
type.
Atlas match?
Say what?
What's your favorite Jake Atlas match?
I mean, truly, I don't know of any, because I don't follow
Jake Atlas?
WWE that close. Maybe as we move forward, I'll get to enjoy Jake Atlas more. But as of right now, like, I'm not familiar with his work, and the timing of his signing coming
But
off
you
of
know
all
what?
this
You know
kerfuffle.
what? Me neither. John's probably the only one who. John probably does more than we do.
I guarantee you he does. Guaranteed. And to paraphrase John, like, the timing, it comes to make it look like the dreaded phrase, the diversity hire. And that kind of cheapens what, we were trying to get at before. Just the timing was off. Now, whether it's that or not, completely different thing. But we'll see. And as they say, the proof is in the pudding. And so we will see as things move forward. Now, to go to the one place that is both quite diverse and insanely backwards at the same time, let's take a moment, step over, and talk about WWE for a hot minute. We'll do this really fucking quick because, one, it's WWE. Two, they're really bad at stuff. And three, there aren't a whole lot of things to talk about right now. So first thing, Weatherman, because you brought it up in the group chat a while back, let me hear what you learned about WWE seat fillers recently from old Corny.
So pretty much for day one, they hired seat fillers to fill seats during the broadcast, and they had a set of rules they had to go by. Essentially, it doesn't matter if somebody actually, it's not like seats that wasn't purchased. These are seats that people actually, if somebody gets up to go to the bathroom, you sit down, you have to tell the people who they possibly are there with, oh, hey, I'm just a seat filler and I'm here to do my job. They gotta act like a fan or whatever and fill that seat till they get back. And I've been in arenas, a lot of arenas for sports and not just wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And I've accidentally sat in the wrong seat sometimes. And you get some very weird looks, and sometimes people who aren't very happy you're sitting in their seat.
Oh yeah.
And especially in the times of COVID, I don't think a lot of people won't want a stranger sitting in their seat.
No. I saw that shit happen. It actually distracted me from an entire segment of a match the other week at Holiday Bash. There was this lady and her kid that got up and sat in some other couple's seats right up on the rail, front row. And then the people who actually sat there came up and like, what the fuck are you doing? These are our seats. Like, watch this whole thing go down. And the lady's like, and just walked away. Tail tucked firmly between legs. Kids like, what? We don't sit there? That type of look on their face. And then went back like 2 rows. They were still floor, but they were 2 rows back from like the rail. And like right directly behind those people. Seat fillers, to me, it sounds like you're really trying to hide the fact that you're doing a piss poor job at the only thing you're supposed to be doing a good job at.
Yeah.
It's not a good look.
And to a traditional thing, if you're selling a venue that has an upper deck, and you got a lot of lower level seats, you tell them people in the upper deck, hey, we're going to have, you take security, hey, if anybody wants to move down, there are seats available, go grab them.
Yeah. You don't force them to sit up there just because they paid for that. If you know that there's empty seats, let them come down. Do them a solid. You're going to, gain a loyal customer that way, I mean, one of my favorite flights in the world happened with Japan Air, and I'll love them forever because when I was flying from Tokyo to Taipei, when I was getting on the plane, like everyone else in the school group I was with, they were going to their regular seats. As soon as I was walking in, they're like, hey, do you want to sit on the upper deck of the plane? And I was like, yes, I do. So I got to go up the stairs and sit in the first class upper deck with like fucking 3 other people from the trip. I had 4 fucking seats to myself and all the free booze and free in-flight movies I could watch because it was first fucking class. I got the freebie upgrade and I will love them forever for that. Forever. It was amazing. Has it happened since? No. I've gotten some nice window seats and a couple aisle seats here and there, and I'm cool with that. But nothing is ever going to top the free bump to upper deck first class and getting sloshed on the flight, like a 3-hour flight. It was the best.
Was it a connector flight or something?
No, it was just like the flight from Tokyo to Taipei where we were going. It was just a short flight, and I got a free upgrade. I was like, hell yeah, I'm for it. And then I came downstairs, and one of my buddies who is taller than me was downstairs in the regular one. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, man, I got upgraded to the top. I had like 3 seats. He's like, I was in the middle. I was in the middle. I was like, man, that sucks. Oh, well. And just went about my business. But, yeah, it's just, throw them a fucking bones. Seat fillers just seems like such a shit thing. And it just makes it
awkward
and honestly blatantly obvious that your product's not great. People aren't wanting to be there.
And on top of that, if you're seat filling in the middle of the row, we've all had to scoot through people.
Oh God, how awkward!
It's a pain in the butt because you got to stand up, let them go by. And if you're constantly doing that for somebody to steal a seat, I'd be getting angry.
Yeah. So, since we've been talking about day one and its need of seat fillers, we'll really quickly rehash. I know a few weeks ago when Grayson was on the last episode he was on, we did some predictions on the day one card as it stood. We didn't do it last week because he wasn't there, but we did some then. And looking at the matches, they added a few that were not on there, and they also modified one and added a person to it, which will lead me to a talking point momentarily. But the first match that we predicted on that was on the card was the Usos versus the New Day. I myself chose the New Day. Grayson chose the Usos. Well, the Usos won. Apparently this match got an A-. And on from there, A match that wasn't on the card, Drew McIntyre versus Madcap Moss. McIntyre gets a win because I have not heard of the other person, so that means it doesn't matter.
I think that's the dude. That's the dude that's hanging out with Corbin.
Okay, so a glorified mid-card punching bag.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next, you had RK Bro versus the Street Profits. This was another match that wasn't mentioned, but had it been Grayson and I know we would have chose RK Bro because they're hot right now as a tag team, so it makes sense that they retain their titles. Following that was the Edge versus Miz, the culmination of their big feud right now. Grace and I both chose the Miz, but we were wrong. Edge wins, but that match also got a C-. Apparently, it was just not amazing.
I think he came out to the Brood entrance and makes it his.
The Brood entrance is always nice, but the Miz is wasted on talent like him. The next match we did get to predict on, Becky Lynch versus Liv Morgan. And Grayson and I both chose Becky. We were correct. I mean, there's no way Becky was going to drop the belt to Liv Morgan. It wasn't going to happen. That was confirmed. The next match was one of the big ones for the WWE Championship. The match with way too many fucking people in it. And from what we saw the other week, they added one more. So when we predicted on it, it was just listed as Big E, Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, and Bobby Lashley. Well, before it happened, they added Brock Lesnar to it. Because, you know, there's nothing better than the classic WWE methodology of let's fucking put a title belt on a goddamn part-timer.
But with all respect, I like Farmer Brock.
Farmer Brock is the best Brock's ever been, but it's still Brock. It's never going to not be Brock, and that's what hurts it. And also, Brock won by pinning Big E. If you're going to shit on somebody, shit on someone else. Big E deserved to hold that title for way longer.
Mercy.
Diversity only counts if you're part-time in WWE. But yeah, Grayson and I both chose Kevin Owens. I forget the exact reasoning why. It's been a couple weeks. We both chose Kevin Owens. I think because he just re-signed, and we figured they might reward him for re-signing, even though, like, before he re-signed, there were all those hints that he might dip out, join the Bucks and everybody in AEW. But we figured they might throw him a bone. No. They threw the part-time farmer a belt.
Maybe it's leading to a title unification.
I mean, we could only hope, because if it's one thing that WWE has, it's too many belts, and all their belts don't mean anything because they don't want their belts to mean anything. The other reason is because, well, I see here, our old predictions, Reigns versus Lesnar was a match that was on the card, but I guess because Reigns hadn't been performing live due to all the COVID stuff, and possibly, I'm going to guess, because some people in WWE had caught it recently, he may have been one of the ones exposed. I guess that's why they parlayed that and put Brock into that main match. So that could be it. And that's all we had, really. So in the grand scheme of things, day one was probably decent. If I'm looking at the reviews here, the big 5-man match got an A-. The women's match got a B. Edge's match got a C. The tag match got a B. McIntyre's got a B-. And then the SmackDown tag match got an A. And then the opening match got a B. So, judging by these ratings from CBS, it was a fairly solid show. But just me reading over and seeing what I saw. I mean, most people who listen to the show already know I'm going to say that I'm unimpressed. And it's true. I'm not. I did not like the way some of the things were done. And just because of some of the modifications to the card, prediction-wise, I only got one right. I shit the fucking bed. Grayson got 2, so he did much better than I did. But with all the changes due to everything, it wasn't going to be an easy one to call. As of this recording, we're recording on the same night as New Year's Evil. And New Year's Evil finished up a little while ago. And so...
You know what would make this pay-per-view better?
What was that?
Not pay-per... Oh, wait. We forgot about something. Premium live event.
Oh, yes. Premium live event. We don't want to call it a pay-per-view. No, it's a premium live event. No, yeah.
It just means you're getting the same shit with more commercials.
Yeah. Exactly. And if it's one thing WWE, air quotes, premium live events are known for, it's pointless fucking commercials. You already pay to see it. I don't need to see a goddamn commercial. You already have the money.
Yeah. And, let's just... I'm talking about New Year's Evil. They should bring back Kai and Ty to do those evil promos for this event.
Oh, man, that would be gold. But New Year's Evil, just to really touch on...
In tonight's match, it will be between Braun Breaker and Tommaso Ciampa. And our pay-per-view, New Year's Evil. Indeed.
Excellent.
You don't realize how great that is. For those people who wasn't alive then, those were just great.
Oh man, they were.
That was back when the Michinoku driver was only done by one person.
Taka Michinoku. He was actually
and Tiger Driver 1 through 96 got love.
Yeah. Now only Tiger Driver 98 and the first Tiger Driver get any love. All right, so to touch on a couple things. NXT's big show for this year, New Year's Evil. It's their first show of the year. A lot of shit going on. You had a championship unification match. Carmelo Hayes versus Roderick Strong. So they're unifying the North American title and I believe the Cruiserweight title into one belt.
I didn't know the Cruiserweight title was still around.
It is. And the name they have given it now is the NXT North American Cruiserweight title. So they just basically blended the two names together. Really, not super creative. But it was Carmelo Hayes versus Roderick Strong. And I guess they're going to shit on Roderick Strong for a while because he's the last member of the Undisputed Era to still be working there. So Carmelo Hayes beat him, and he is now the unified North American champion.
It's his own fault he resigned.
Yep. Hopefully they don't shit on him too hard. Another big thing to come from this, apparently AJ Styles is going to be working in NXT for a bit. Grayson Waller, the NXT talent, has set a date for his match with AJ Styles. So Styles is coming to work some NXT, so they will be going against one another here pretty soon. Skimming over the catch-up because we started recording while this was still going on, and through the conversation, it's over already, so I have not had a chance to watch it yet. But for anyone that hasn't either, we're spoiling it for you now. So you're welcome. But, yeah, I'm amazed to see that AJ is going to be working on NXT. But apparently this little promo segment was good enough to get a B ranking from Bleacher Report. That's what it is. Next, you had some a tag match, or triple threat match. Imperium versus MSK and Riddle. So they've got Walter and his crew going up against Matt Riddle and MSK. I'm surprised they pulled Riddle down from the main to work an NXT show because, I mean, he's part of RK Bro and they're tag champions right now. So it's kind of odd that they're sharing talent. That's not something I expected. So when I saw this, I was like, interesting.
They're trying to boost ratings, I guess.
That's so, because ever since fucking old boy and Vince took over NXT, it hasn't been amazing. Apparently, Riddle and Walter going toe-to-toe in this match was fucking gold. Because we both know that we like Walter. He's a fucking beast. Mm-hmm. And, well, sadly, Riddle and MSK defeated Imperium by pinfall. Also, Walter's lost his first match as a full member of the NXT roster. Since they don't count or they didn't count NXT UK as a full NXT, apparently. Next, NXT Women's Championship, Mandy Rose versus Raquel Gonzalez and Cora Jade. Mandy Rose is the champ. She retains another B rating, so apparently they're running pretty average, like not bad. Von Wagner beats Andre Chase and apparently attacks some fans at ringside. I'm sure they were plants, but yeah.
Hope they're better than guys in Greensboro.
The ones they threw everyone on top of?
Yeah.
I talked to a guy at the comic shop the other day at Jody's, and he was sitting in that section and saw it happen. He was like, holy shit.
I thought you were back at home.
I'm back. I am, but I'm talking about this is
last week. Oh.
Last week, yeah, like Wednesday or Thursday one.
Good old Jody.
Good old Jody. He was real excited when I brought him an old issue of Pro Wrestling Illustrated with Jimmy Lawler on the cover.
Nice.
I found a big ass box of them at an antique store, and I bought like 8 issues out of there for like $12.
Did you buy one of his Cornette figures?
I bought it before. I'm the one that told him about them, and he went and bought them.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but remember I told you I bought the Christmas Cornette a while back.
That is right.
Yep.
The glasses were not very good with that.
They do not fit well, but I took a little bit of blue Fun Tack and I stuck it in between his eyes and I just pushed the glasses.
Well, they weren't the aviators. They look like goggles.
They're not great. They're not great. I mean, they look like glasses. They work for what they do, but they're not the best. But yes, if you're talking about the big reveal, the title match, Tommaso Ciampa versus Braun Breaker, a.k.a. Bronson Rex Steiner, and the son of Rick now being a champion. That is probably the best spoiler there is.
And Rick joined him in the ring after the show.
That's crazy.
Old school board himself.
Oh, man. Was he dressed gimmicky or was he dressed like a normal dude?
I sent you the picture.
Oh, wait, there it is. Yeah. I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell who that was. Oh,
looks like
look at it.
He's a dad.
He's happy. Now let's hope that Bronson
They're going to Shoney's afterwards.
Man, I'd go to Shoney's. Can we go in the morning for breakfast instead of at night? Because nighttime sucks. Morning's the best.
I don't know. The one in Wilkesboro had both were really good.
Man, I only ever went for breakfast because that breakfast buffet was fucking clutch. But yeah, I'm cool with Braun Breaker winning that title. Now, he's got the look. He must have the skills because, I mean, he's got a pedigree to follow up. And from everything I've heard, damn good. And honestly, going up against Ciampa, who's a fucking beast himself, kudos. I am not angry with this choice. Now, do I feel like it's a little early? Maybe just a smidge. Just a smidge. But do I think it's a bad thing? Not at all. Not at all. I want to see if we're going to go with fucking bruisers laying it to it. Go ahead. I'm going to put this out there. Give me a Walter versus Braun Breaker match, and I'll fucking watch that shit immediately. I want to see Walter just throw those fucking hands. Because we know he's got the meanest chops in wrestling right now. Period. And he's intimidating. He may not be like a fucking Greek god type of build a la Breaker, but dude's built like a brick shithouse nonetheless. He is tough as nails. So that brings us into one of the final topics of the night. And here in a few hours, night 2 will begin. But night 1 of Wrestle Kingdom was early as fuck on the morning of the 4th. I had actually forgot because, honestly, I'm running on the classic schedule of Wrestle Kingdom is Friday and Saturday.
Yep.
I forgot it was actually Tuesday. Oops. But I watched it today. And let me go ahead and say that one of the better wrestling shows I've seen in a bit. I mean, classic New Japan. You know what you're going to get when you see it. But the card itself, for not having a ton of international talent, which is what you expect on a New Japan card because of how well they work together with the companies they partner with, it was still damn solid. It was a lot more of their homegrown talent. But the show started off, the pre-show, the New Japan Rumble, a.k.a. the New Japan Rumble. Their battle royal where not only can you eliminate going over the top, but submissions, pinfalls, and DQs count. And we saw everything happen in this match except for DQs, which is cool. Fine with that. And the reasoning for the Rumble now, since, as we all know, year before last, they introduced the King of Pro Wrestling Provisional Championship, a.k.a. the Little Trophy. The past 2 years, Toru Yano
Fuck Yano
has been the KOPW champion. He has only been unseated from that position one time, and that was by Chase Owens earlier this year, who Yano had to dive back into his older heel persona, bleached his hair orange, to get the killer instinct back to beat Chase Owens in an I Quit match. To regain and immediately go back to being comical Yano. But that brings us to the Rumble. Just like last year, the final 4 in the Rumble are the 4 that go up into a fatal 4-way on night 2 to get the belt, or the chance for the title. By the time you guys hear this, night 2 will be over. But if you watch New Japan late, like many people do, you should still hear this before you watch it. So if you hear this by the weekend, you're good as gold. If you already know it by then, apologies in advance. It's just the way the recording schedule worked out. But your 4 competitors for the King of Pro Wrestling Provisional title: Chase Owens, CIMA, which surprised me because, I mean, apparently he's working with a different company now, not the same one he was working with out of China. Apparently this one's called like Gleet or something. I forget the name of the one that he was working with out of China who did all that collaboration stuff with AEW a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Suzuki and Yano. Those are your 4. CIMA was a surprise entrance into the Rumble. And looking at those 4 right there, I feel like they're going to let Suzuki get it unless they're just super on Yano and his comedy when he has that title. I hope he doesn't get a 3-peat. I want to see someone else do it, and I feel like out of those 4, Suzuki'd be the one to do it. What say you?
Yeah.
Classic Wes for it. Alright, next you had the grudge match between former tag partners in Roppongi 3K, Sho and Yo. Sho, who is currently part of the Bullet Club subdivision House of Torture, alongside Yujiro Takahashi, Dick Togo, and Evil, was defeated by his former tag partner Yo. Yo just outclassed him. I wanted Sho to win because of Bullet Club all the way, but it was a damn good match. Those 2 left it all in the ring. It was great. Really, really good. They both worked to their strengths, and there was no, like, silly bullshit. Let's put it that way. No silly bullshit. It was a good match. The next one. you had a triple tag featuring the Bullet Club team of Kenta, El Phantasmo, and Bone Soldier, Taiji Ishimori, going up against Tanahashi and the Mega Coaches, a.k.a. Rocky Romero and Taguchi. Guess who won, Weatherman?
Tanahashi.
No. Bullet Club won. But guess how they won?
Chase Owens. Yes.
No, Chase Owens has already had his thing. He didn't come back.
Oh. Somebody cheated.
Yes, but not the way you think. Yes, classic Bullet Club shenanigans happened. Kenta came to the ring with a kendo stick, so you knew it was going to come into play. And it did. During a classic referee distraction, Kenta used that kendo stick to beat on Tanahashi for a bit. Well, following that, when the referee was, back from being incapacitated momentarily or distracted, Bullet Club managed to do enough shenanigans to piss Tanahashi off so bad he beat Kenta with the kendo stick in front of the referee to be disqualified.
That's wild.
I've never seen them do that with Tanahashi. Like, he's squeaky clean. But apparently his feud with Kenta brought out the bad side, and he got his team disqualified. Because those two are going up against one another as a rematch for the U.S. title tomorrow. Or technically today, here in just a few hours. And then also, Phantasmo and Ishimori are going up against the Mega Coaches and Robbie Eagles and Tiger Mask in a three-way tag dance for the junior heavyweight titles. So it was a nice little preview match there. I was still just super surprised to see how it went. Next, you had the team of the United Empire, Will Ospreay, Great O'Khan, and Jeff Cobb, going up against LIJ's Bushi, Tetsuya Naito, and Sonata. This was just basically a way to get Ospreay on the card without having him actually have to work hard. But surprisingly enough, they threw the Empire a bone. And they won. They beat LIJ. Jeff Cobb getting the pin on Bushi. But apparently there's a nice feud going between Naito and Jeff Cobb. And I'm for it because right after the match ended, because Naito had been working Cobb's knee the whole match, and you know how in New Japan they like to give out those ice packs. Well, Cobb is taken to laying down in the ring and throwing up the LIJ mocking pose that Naito does all the time, where he leans down on his side, props his hand in his head, and just throws his fist up in the air. Well, Cobb's been doing that with that little Hawaiian love sign or whatever the fuck it is. You know the one I'm talking about. Thumb and pinky out. He's been doing that in the ring, and then with his other hand doing the eye pinch. Well, Naito came into the ring with the ice pack, and Cobb was kneeling in the corner, and he just takes it and sits it on his knee and pats, and he's just like, there you go, ice that knee down. And it fucking pissed Cobb off. Cobb's tried to sing back. He said, no, there you go. And then just Naito just rolls off, and he's just like, yeah, you hang on to that. Ice that knee down. And left the ring. Went off about his business. So Naito is definitely good at getting under people's skin, and I feel like when they have their blow-off match, it's going to be pretty solid. Now, Katsuyori Shibata, who's been unable to perform due to health restrictions because he had some sort of crazy hematoma or something, rupture or something during a match. Oh, say what?
Hematoma.
Yeah, it's bad news either way. It could have killed him. But he's been on, basically medically unfit to wrestle for years now. But he's finally convinced them to let him do it. And he said it was just going to be a catch-only wrestling match. No striking, just grappling, like holds, using the ropes, things like that. No striking at all. Well, they didn't announce his opponent until that person came to the ring. His opponent wound up being the young lion, Ren Narita, who is actually about to leave from being a young lion. I think he's actually gone out on an excursion, so he should be doing his own independent thing here pretty soon. But as soon as Shibata came out, he said, no, we're doing pro wrestling rules. He changed it up right then and there, and they had a regular-ass pro wrestling match, and it was damn fucking good. Shibata worked the kiddo.
I've never been a big fan of ciabatta bread.
Ciabatta. Well, you might not be a fan of ciabatta, but I think you'd be a nice fan of shibata. So, take a peep. He works real well. Good striking. Lots of smooth grappling and transition work. Like, from pins to submissions, like, really fucking smooth. Like, these are some of the best, like, float-over transitions I've seen beyond, like, Suzuki and Zack Sabre Jr. He's, like, up there with them when it comes to that sort of wrestling. Like, the closest, like, equivalent you could have for, like, AEW or something would be, like, a Daniel Bryan. Or Bryan Danielson, rather. Eventually, I'll get to it.
Did you hear Jack Sabre's little brother's gonna be coming in the New Japan?
Really?
Yeah, Light Sabre Jr.
Zing! I walked right into that one. You're a son of a bitch. That joke was also so fucking bad. I love it. It's so bad it's good. But Shibata wins in his first match, and it was pure wrestling rules, so they're thinking he's probably going to be cleared to actually wrestle again, and that's going to be pretty solid. Next, you had Evil against Ishii for the Never Openweight Championship. Evil beat him. So Evil is the new Never Openweight Champion. Then you had your IWGP Tag Championship, Chaos, represented by Yoshihashi and Goto, going up against Dangerous Tekkers, Tai Chi and Zack Sabre Jr. Well, the defending champs, Tai Chi and ZSJ, lost. And they lost clean. No shenanigans. They wrestled a clean match. Chaos wrestled a clean match. And they actually congratulated them at the end. They went out like good sports. Even though they were the heels, they didn't do anything like petty or shit like that.
And after the match, they all went to TGI Fridays.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Because I don't think they have Arby's in Japan.
Saw Scorpio Sky at a TGI Fridays one time.
So he was the man of the year.
It was him and Fat Ass Masa. If you remember Fat Ass Masa from the old stuff.
Boy, that's one person who got thrown away.
Well, it's because no one's in fucking Bullet Club and going to Japan anymore, so he's just still hanging out with all the Japanese talent now. Yeah, I was happy to see that, but the one thing that I know most people were happy about is Tai Chi's little gothic Lolita valet was back, accompanying him to the ring. So you got the full Tai Chi entrance with his fawning lady and his singing into the microphone that doesn't have a wireless attachment to it.
He's probably better than Amy Sakura.
Possibly. Following that, you had what was probably one of the best matches of the night for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship, El Desperado versus Hiromu. And honestly, I thought they were going to put the belt on Hiromu because the way they hype him up, it almost seems like a given. But they didn't. Despy retained. And it was a hard-fought match. Hard enough to where when they held his hand up, I was like, is his mask crooked? No. He got fucking hit in the face hard enough during that match. His eye fucking swelled up under the mask and was like bulging out from the eye hole.
Damn.
Yeah. He took some legit fucking shots in that match. Like, probably not on purpose, but you know how it goes like that sometimes. But that's the only time I've ever seen that fucking happen. And it's just like, it puffed up big. I was like, holy shit. And like, even fucking Kevin Kelly and his commentator were like, his eye is swollen. He's not going to be able to see out of that later. It was mighty big. And you could tell the mask was rubbing it because he fiddled with it a little bit as he was getting the belt and the hand raised. And then, to finish it all up, the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, Okada against Shingo Takagi. All right, Weatherman, who do you think won?
Okada.
You are correct.
Yay.
Okada did beat Takagi for the new Transformers-style belt. But it works that he did because, again, this harkens back to another long-term feud. Shingo had his feud with Ospreay because Ospreay had to vacate the title due to COVID and everything, and Shingo won the little micro tournament to get it and became the title holder that way. And ever since, Ospreay's been traveling the US and the UK with his version of the belt, saying that he never lost it, he's still the champ, and that Shingo was an interim champion. And I like it. That was a good angle. It was a good one to work. It got a lot of heat. It built up the nice story for this. It panned out. But it also dovetailed nicely with the angle from where Ospreay defected from Chaos, stabbing Okada in the back. And now you've got the champion Okada against the air quotes champion Ospreay tomorrow night to decide who the real champion is. And Ospreay, like right after that, right before Okada was going to get to do the farewell speech, you know how they did. Mm-hmm. He said farewell to the old heavyweight championship. He handed it back to them. But Ospreay came out, did the nice little heel speech, telling Okada he's just an interim champion and that he'll see him tomorrow and, you know, to enjoy being the fake champion while he can. And then Okada didn't really say much after that other than he's like, all right, fake champion, see you tomorrow. And that pissed Ospreay enough to have him turn back around. He's like, did you call me fake? And Okada's like, bye, fake champion, see you tomorrow. And so Ospreay just got so angry. He's like, what the fuck? And then turned around, just storming off, muttering the whole fucking time, saying he was going to beat his ass and everything else. So I was just like, that's good. That's good. But that is the very, very short recap of Wrestle Kingdom Night 1. All in all, very, very good. Much better than many other pay-per-views and things I've seen as of late. Or premium live events. Premium live events. Let's get used to saying that. Premium live events. Beyond that, the only other news I can tell you is Marty Scurll's got a U.S. match. A match on U.S. soil coming up pretty soon.
Hide your daughters.
One can only hope that this is testing the waters to see if he can actually work stateside again without having too much negative press. We shall see. We shall see.
We'll see how that works here in the woke USA.
Who knows? Who knows? We'll see. Other than that, he's been wrestling in Puerto Rico as of late, doing quite well. He's a champion of one of the promotions down there, so hey, it is what it is. See how it goes. Given what we knew about the situation, I think Scurll got a raw deal. It didn't rub people the right way here, but where he was at the time, it was kind of iffy, but it wasn't terrible. So that's all I'm going to say on it. We talked about that a couple of years ago. Feel free to go back and listen to that one, but
In the archives.
In the archives. But yeah, go back, take a listen to that one. Me, John, Grayson, I think. Or maybe you too.
I've been around for those.
I can't remember. I feel like you were. Either way, go back, give that one a listen. It's a pretty good one. Anywho, that's it for this week. I know it's a fairly long one. I appreciate you coming in and helping me out tonight.
That's what she said.
Oh, there we go. But I appreciate you popping in tonight, helping me out, Weatherman. It was most appreciated. It's like, I dread the fact that I know at some point between now and when Grayson comes back, I'm probably going to have to do one of these episodes by myself. It's going to be a rough one. But
we forgot to tell everybody the good news.
What's that?
Apparently, while John had his torn ACL, he got a little busy.
Oh, yeah! Congratulations, Johnny boy. Another baby on the way. Hopefully he doesn't mind us saying that, but we're going to say it anyway. Because he's a boy. Another member of the Post the Post family coming at you in about 9 months. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. Again, another thank you to Weatherman for helping host this episode here. Hopefully, here in the next week or so, I've got something in the works to possibly have someone in here to briefly interview and talk about some work they did with WWE during the Attitude Era. I've got to get in touch with them, figure out a good time for it all to work out, then find some people to come in and help. Well, just because I want to use the wrong term, cross-examine them, because it's always better to have more than one person asking questions. But that should be coming up here pretty soon. Maybe next week, maybe the week after.
Turns out he's the guy that gave John Laurinaitis the lingerie magazine to find the divas.
Oh, God. If only we were that lucky. But it should be pretty solid. I got to get back in touch with him, figure out what works best, and then we'll go from there. Once that happens, be ready. You'll have the first Post the Post interview episode, and we'll get some nice information at that. And once that comes around, I'll also share links with that fellow's podcast where he recaps some things of that nature as well. But beyond that, like always, give us a follow on all the shits. We're everywhere that you find podcasts. Listen to it. Tell your friends. Tell them to listen to it. Like, subscribe, etc., etc., etc. You know how it is. We got to pander and self-promote a little bit. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. All of those links and things will be in the show description. And if you want to, shoot us an email. It will also be there. Tell us how good we're doing, how bad we're doing, etc., and so on. But beyond that...
Just don't sue us.
Yeah, just don't do that. We do want to have discussions with the people, so let's do it. But without further ado, the final thing, big thanks to Falcon and Ann the Polar for making us sound so good. And if you haven't seen it yet, our frequent collaborator, Chapel, he just released his top 10 albums of 2021 on YouTube. It's on the Ann the Polar YouTube page. Give it a listen. It's a pretty nice little hour of him ranting about music. So give it a peep. Other than that, we'll catch you next week. Might be me, might be Weatherman. Who knows who will be here? It's a roll of the dice. But do tune in. We'll try to keep you entertained. See you later. Bye.